Now, let me break this down to you. As a kid, yes, I was a class clown. Elementary school, all that stuff, all the way through. Now, I wasn't the type to assault teachers. I was actually scared when teachers would call home, because my mother would actually put me on punishment over something the teacher said. I was very envious of my friends who, the parents would come up there and argue with the teachers, threaten the teachers when the teachers called home, or just ignore the teachers, or just weren't even active, in their lives. So, I represent both worlds. I had an active parent, and I still was a knucklehead. Now, and I have sympathy for kids. I had attention deficit disorder. Other kids have different hypertension. Other kids have, hypertension, hyperactivity, and all type of different behavioral problems. I'm very sensitive to that. Okay? I'm very sensitive to that. So I want you to understand that when you watch this video, that I'm sensitive to the kids. I know what they go through, but still we have to address this. Okay, what's going on in Philadelphia and what's going on around the country with this Zoom learning. So we have to address it, because the news media, the left-wing media, is just doing too much. So we have to address it. And make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed to all my channels, the link's in the description box. Subscribe to all of them. Trust me. There's content on all of them. Fresh content. Subscribe to all of them. Take the $5 challenge. Support this channel. Salute to all you guys that have been taking the $5 challenge. Salute to all you guys that have been giving so much and keeping this channel afloat in these YouTube streets. All right, let's get into it.
Class clowns are adapting to the new normal. The Philadelphia School District has a serious warning for Zoom pranksters. Natasha Brown is in Fairmount to explain. Hi, Natasha.
Hi there, Jessica. School Superintendent Dr. William Height says that the start of the school year is really going as well as can be expected, especially in these uncharted territories that they're in. Meantime, he does say that it has been a bit messy at times, including pranksters interrupting virtual classrooms. Many schools are navigating an all-virtual start to the school year. For the Philadelphia School District, it hasn't come without glitches, with server overloads on day one, and now Zoom bombing, where pranksters are interrupting digital classrooms.
Anyone participating in these Zoom pranks will be held accountable for their action.
First off the bat, every kid they fucking showing is a white kid. And if you know anything about Philadelphia public schools, that's not what it looks like in Philadelphia public schools. Why are they showing nothing but white kids while they're talking about a behavioral issue? When we know the numbers. We know the numbers. Why are they talking about white kids when they're talking about a behavioral issue? Why are they showing us images of white kids all on the screen when we're talking about a behavioral issue in public schools in a chocolate city, or a city where the public schools are chocolate and the white parents send their kids to private schools to keep them away from black kids because of the violence and the terror that's reigned in these public schools? Why are they showing us all white kids? And of course, the superintendent of the public schools is going to be a brother. It's always brothers in leadership or assistant leadership in these cities that complain about racism, disenfranchisement. Take me to your leader. And it's a brother or it's a sister.
And now Zoom bombing, where pranksters are interrupting digital classrooms.
Anyone participating in these Zoom pranks will be held accountable for their actions. They are not okay.
District officials say they've already had a few instances of students or outsiders interrupting and disrupting Zoom classes.
We had an incident, a student that had what appeared to be a firearm. He had gone into a different class at a different school to show everyone.
That kid, you want to see what that kid looked like? Yes, that kid was a teen. That kid was a brother. Okay? That kid was a brother. The one who flashed the gun. And oh, it's a toy gun. They can't take chances with that, because if that kid hurts himself or hurts somebody else after the teacher was made aware that he had a gun, the teacher gets in trouble. They had to take that extremely serious. I think a no-knock warrant, a warrant was put on the house, and they went and found out it was a toy gun. But these things, that was a black kid that did that. In the Philadelphia public school system, black kids, the rates that black kids get suspended at compared to white kids is insane. And then you show us the news station in Philly shows us a story, and it's goddamn all white kids. And the reason I say this is because America is getting a bad name when it comes to gun violence. When it's really the black community. Gun violence, if you took away the black community out of America, you wouldn't need a homicide division in most of these major cities. You wouldn't even need a homicide division. Because the mafia is done. Rudolph Giuliani basically took down the mafia. They've gone into other things. There's not as much murder and things with them. The Hispanics, their numbers are not as big as you think they are. Those Latino gangs, they kill, but it's mostly in Juarez, Mexico, and El Salvador, and other countries. But here, their numbers pale in comparison to the numbers of black people that get murdered. So it's just very interesting that, now they're trying to make it seem like all kids in Philadelphia public school system are a problem, when really it's not. It's just the black kids. Literally, it's just the black kids across the country and the Philadelphia public school system.
Classes.
We had an incident, a student that had what appeared to be a firearm. He had gone into a different class at a different school to show everyone that turned out to be like a BB gun. We've had 3 incidents that I know of. Individuals moving into other classes to either disrupt or do a prank.
Prank Zoom calls are not new in the virtual world, but it is something school officials are taking very seriously.
Securing your personal accounts is more important now than ever because you are the gateway to your school.
Tech expert Dan Patterson of CNET explains how students and teachers can protect themselves in these all-virtual settings that are ripe for hackers.
Stay one step ahead of the pranksters or hackers, and to make sure you're not one of those low-hanging fruit. So make sure that every Zoom meeting, especially those that are public, has password protection on it, and make sure that that password changes for every single meeting.
School officials are reinforcing cybersecurity protocols, making sure virtual classrooms are protected.
Digital classes up for learning and caring for the many needs of our students during this challenging time. Not for Zoom pranks, and definitely not for malicious intent.
Well, again, Dr. Hyde is saying he only knows of 3 instances so far, and he is hoping that is the last of it all. Meantime, tech experts again reiterating the fact that for any of us using these virtual platforms, we should really be changing our passwords, making them stronger, and changing them often as much as possible. Reporting live, Natasha Brown, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Excellent advice, Natasha. Thank you.
Okay, so now I want to take you back a few years ago, okay? To a video I did a few years ago. This was a story pre the woke-apocalypse, whatever you want to call what's going on now, post George Floyd America. This is pre George Floyd America. And I want to show you how they covered. This is a Philadelphia news station. This is a different station, but it's NBC. It's an NBC affiliate. So I want to show you how they covered the Philadelphia school system pre-wokeopolis, free George Floyd America. And look at the difference between this and what they're giving us now.
We've shown you fights in hallways and brawls broken up by teachers.
Have you been assaulted?
Yes, twice.
This teacher is among hundreds who answered yes to that question. The NBC 10 investigators conducted a survey of Philadelphia school teachers. We received more than 500 responses. We're concealing.
So the teachers wanted, you know, a lot of times, you know, with these things, I don't want to say anything. You struggle, all these anonymous, nobody wants to go on the record, nobody wants to say anything, because these schools really, they shun teachers letting you know what's going on in these school systems day to day. They shun it. Like in Baltimore, DC, Chicago, the school systems, there's backlash from, you know, the administration when teachers come out. But it's so bad in Philly that 500 teachers came forward to give information. Okay? That's how bad it is in Philly.
Brawls broken up by teachers.
Have you been assaulted?
Yes, twice.
This teacher is among hundreds who answered yes to that question. The NBC 10 investigators conducted a survey of Philadelphia school teachers. We received more than 500 responses. We're concealing the identity of educators we spoke with because they fear school district retaliation.
I've seen lots of students as young as 6 and 7 years old throw chairs, throw furniture. We had an incident in another school where they threw feces at a teacher.
Of the teachers who answered our survey, 42% of them told us they've been physically assaulted by a student. 38% told us they don't believe their school is well protected against violence, whether it be external or internal. One teacher wrote, "I've been punched, kicked, and scratched." Another described being hit by a metal trash can. Some wrote about being injured by students, including, "My neck was sprained, and I was punched in the stomach by a student when I was 7 months pregnant."
There's clearly something going on that needs to be attended to.
That thing that's going on, Cracker, is niggas. When you look at the suspension rates in Philadelphia public schools, and it's been attributed to racism. It's been attributed to racism. The suspension rates, which would reflect who's doing this that the teachers are saying. Okay? It will reflect not only the fact that I get tons of videos with teachers talking, you know, on YouTube about their experiences with black kids in the school system. But, and I went to all black schools, didn't have any white classmates in any of the schools I went to in DC. No white classmates in none of them. Public schools. And I know firsthand, but if you want to call me a liar, like I lied on Breonna, just like I lied on Breonna Taylor. So if y'all think some of y'all may think I'm a liar because I lied on Breonna Taylor. Don't take my word for it. Just look at the suspension rates. And look and just ignore, you can ignore your own experiences too, because you guys went to public school too. Ignore that. And just look at what the teachers are saying and look at the suspension rates, which is supposed to be due to racial bias on the part of the teachers and on part of the administration, on part of the school system and the institution of schools in America. But who you think is doing this?
There's clearly something going on that needs to be attended to.
We showed our survey results to educational psychology professor Eric Anderman. He studies violence against teachers.
It looked to me like your elementary teachers are the ones who are feel the least safe and feel like they see the most violence, which that surprised me.
State safe school records show in the last 5 full school years, 785 incidents of aggravated assault on school staff.
If you want people to learn, you've got to get them to focus. These are distractions from focusing.
A lot of it is disciplinary. There's no consequences. Even the littlest kid can, and I've seen it many times, can destroy a classroom, overturn desks and chairs, interrupt instruction for long periods of time, and there's really no consequence.
Records.
Okay, so little kids can just tear up the classroom, they can go Tasmanian devil on the classroom and there's no consequences. Yet, when there finally are consequences, because remember, Obama came in and he changed it the way you couldn't suspend this. If you're gonna, for every one black kid that was suspended, there needed to be one white kid, or everybody's racist. So he came up with that philosophy. So everybody's racist if the suspension rates are not 1-to-1 race-wise. So if 20 black kids get suspended, 20 white kids got to get suspended, or else it's racism. So because of that, they stopped suspending black kids as much as they could, and it still didn't help. The suspension rates are still skewed, even with the administration letting black kids do whatever they want to do in these schools, letting them do whatever they want to do, and not punishing them at all. The suspension rates are still jacked up. So, I appreciate the honesty that this piece is showing compared to the honesty the lack of honesty that we're seeing now in the wokeopolis, in the post George Floyd era. But even with this, they're not going to really tell you they're trying to hold off on telling you who's actually doing it.
Records show last year more than 11,700 out-of-school suspensions for violence, but there were 0 expulsions in the Philly school district.
In the real world, if you go out and you carry out some of these actions that they're doing, you will go to jail.
When we told Philadelphia School Superintendent William Haidt what teachers told us about safety concerns, he said he wasn't surprised.
We're a large school district with a lot of issues that children come to us with significant challenges, and we are training individuals to deal with those things.
We asked,
what do you think those challenges are? Chat. What do you think those challenges that these schools... He's right there. I'll give him that. They're a large school district and students come to them with significant challenges. He's right. I'll give him that. He's 100% right. I went to school with these kids. They got challenged. I went to school with these kids. The challenge is starting at home, though. Okay, the challenge is starting at home. None of these little kids got fathers. None of them. And I'm not trying to say that that's the only reason, because they grow up and they see violence. A lot of these little kids are psychopaths or sociopaths. They don't have any empathy or any kind of compassion. They're void of, they can't feel emotion for anybody. They see death everywhere. Like, their little friends. Because you got to understand, these little kids, one thing you guys got to understand if you've watched this channel, these little kids that he's talking about, because he said it's mostly the little ones that are the worst. These little kids have already seen their friends get killed, shot in the head. You think all these black kids that I show you in these videos Who you think their friends are? Where do you think these kids come from? They go to these schools. These little black kids that's getting shot in the street every single day, all across the country. That we can chronicle some. We chronicle the most, but we can't chronicle all of them. These little black kids that are getting killed all over this country, getting shot, they go to these schools. So when you're a little kid and you've got classmates, 2 or 3 classmates that have been murdered in your fucking elementary school, you got 5 or 6 classmates that have been shot, you're in the fucking 3rd grade and shit. Then your mom, she fucking didn't give you no dad, your unstable environment. But at the end of the day, it's still black kids doing this. And they're trying to not say that. Even 2 years ago, before the wokeopolis. But at least they're addressing it.
The children come to us with significant challenges, and we are training individuals to deal with those things.
We asked to schedule time with Hite to discuss our survey results. He declined, so we met up with him after a school board meeting.
Many individuals are concerned about safety, and they're concerned about the health and welfare of their students.
He said the district's own survey showed staff bothered by school safety. When we brought up teachers wanting more student discipline after assaults, Hite had enough.
They mentioned the fact that there's not discipline.
I gotta take off. I never expected violence would be part of my job.
Were you able to teach properly in an environment like that?
No. There was little education went on when those occurrences occurred.
For the investigators, I'm Mitch Blocker, NBC 10 News.
And we asked again after the school board meeting for time to speak.
Smiggity smash. Smiggity smash, 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 smash.
Speak with Dr. Hite more specifically about what the district is doing to combat violence against teachers. Through a spokesperson, he again declined.
You can see our entire...
I feel like I was irresponsible for that, for CBS Philadelphia, the ones who did the first video we watched about misbehavior and tomfoolery and argy-bargy during Zoom classes, virtual learning classes, and they showed us a bunch of white kids. When you know Philadelphia school system, you know who's doing that, and it across the country. This is just a small reflection of the whole country, because it's like this in Baltimore, Camden, Newark, New York, everywhere you go. It's the black kids causing trouble. And it's a microcosm of society. America has a gun problem. Violence is taking over the streets of our major... No, that's bullshit. You know the fuck is doing that shit. And if you don't address it, you're pandering, but it's not only pandering, you're not helping nobody. You're not helping the situation. There's never going to be a resolution to the situation. Nothing's ever going to happen to fix it. And make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that super chat. And make sure you subscribe to all my channels. Make sure you hit that PayPal, make sure you hit that Cash App. Because these messages got to get out here. You also need to share these videos. I encourage you guys to share these videos on your social media. Because nothing's going to change, man. Nothing's going to change as long as we keep acting like it's everybody doing certain shit. We get to talk about white people are racist. Chinese people, they don't let us steal from their beauty supply stores, and they don't let us run off without paying in their nail salons. Arab store owners don't be letting us steal out their store. Everybody gets called out for the shit they do to black people. Police don't let us resist arrest. They don't let us beat them up. They don't let us take their tasers. Everybody gets called out for the shit they do to black people. Black people not being called out it doesn't help us. It's basically treating us like children by not calling us out on the shit that we doing. Because these are little kids, like, just terrorizing teachers all across the country. And now they're taking it to Zoom. The virtual learning. They've just begun. They've been Zooming. They've been doing this virtual learning for a week or two. What's going to happen by the spring? When they really figure out different ways to disrupt classes and cause mayhem and harm other people. The cyberbullying is going to be off the charts. And they're going to be acting like it's everybody doing it. And you're going to know who's doing it. And nobody's going to say who's actually doing it. They're going to try to make it seem like everybody's doing it, and there's a huge problem in every community. And I can't wait till the scores come out, the test scores and the grades. They're going to say, oh, well, COVID affected black people worse, so that's why the black kids are making the worst grades with the virtual learning. And it's not that. It starts in the home. It starts in the community. If you finish in last every time in everything, if you're first in everything bad and last in everything good, across the board, at what point do that become something where you like, damn? Because let a nigga go to the club 10 times and don't meet and don't get no phone numbers. And don't meet no chicks. And don't take no chicks to the IHOP, then to the hotel. He gonna start feeling some kind of way. Like, what the hell going on? We know what failure looks like. We know the difference between success and failure. Let a dude get in a bunch of fights and lose all of them. He know what let some girl get dogged out by every boyfriend she ever had. She gonna be like, damn, what the fuck? We know black people know the difference between success and failure. It's the liberal media that allows us to not have to deal with it in exchange for votes. We won't call you out on your shit if you vote for us. Man, get in the comment section, man. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Peace.